I feel too dumb to have a career. I have a university degree in the social sciences, and I've started working as a support worker after graduating, hoping to gain some relevant experience while I figure out what to do next. The thing is, I feel like I'm so dumb about things that I won't be able to have a chance at a real career. I'm incredibly slow, disorganized, struggle to prioritize tasks, and I can't work under pressure. I've had jobs in the past where I've been there years and still made silly mistakes. I often get told I have my head in the clouds a lot, and that I look like I'm not listening a lot of the time, which is probably true. I think I did well in college because I can read and write quite proficiently, but I seem to lack a lot of common sense skills. The job I'm working at the moment is minimum wage, low-skilled work, and when I tell family and friends what I'm doing, I feel like I'm met with pity, and you can do so much better than that. But the truth is, I feel like I'm just not bright enough or quick enough to do anything else. And also, I hate that attitude of being too good for certain work. I have always been this way, but it has got worse in the last year. It could be anxiety related, which I have a diagnosis for, but I don't think it is the answer to all my problems. Is it normal to feel like this at my age 22, or is there something wrong with me? I feel so lost and like I have no real path or plan, and all I can think about is my own limitations. Slow brain. Edit. Hey all. Just want to say thank you for your advice and kind words. A lot of people have mentioned ADD, and I think I'm going to look into it because it does make sense. So thank you. Thank you. Obligatory. I'm not a psychiatrist to talk to an actual professional about this. Any chance you have ADD? I'm incredibly slow, disorganized, struggle to prioritize tasks, and I can't work under pressure. I've had jobs in the past where I've been there years and still made silly mistakes. I often get told I have my head in the clouds a lot, and that I look like I'm not listening a lot of the time, which is probably true. I emphasized all the parts that also relate to myself. I have severe ADD myself, and I relate to a lot of this. Hell, I once submitted a report to call without realizing I stopped writing halfway through a paragraph. Like you, I spent most of my life thinking I was stupid for many of the same reasons you listed. I struggled with basic things like deadlines and not making stupid mistakes. I eventually got treatment for my ADD, came up with a lot of behaviors to account for my ADD. For example, I put everything on my calendar. I also make weekly and daily to-do lists to make sure I don't forget anything. I prioritize my lists to know what to work on first. I'm now excelling at my career as a consultant in InfoSec. It is an incredibly technical field many struggle to get into due to the depth of skill required. Despite all my issues earlier in life and my 2.5 high school and college pass, I've been getting promoted much faster than people typically do in the field. I've achieved a level in my career within 2 years that normally takes people 5 years to accomplish. It turns out I actually wasn't stupid. I was just terrible at paying attention to things. Learning disability, sure, but not stupid. Meds, compensating behaviors helped me get on track and get me into an extremely rewarding, high-performing career. Again, I'm not a psych, and this is not a definitive diagnosis. This is just an anecdote of my own life relating to similarities I spot between your post and myself, and something worth looking into with a qualified professional. I am a female and wasn't diagnosed till 26. I finally went to a doctor after feeling so much distress at work for the same things as I was actually crying as I took the assessment because my entire life I never would have thought I was someone who had ADD, but it was starting to make so much sense. I have inattentive type, which is different from a hyperactive restless type we more commonly associate with ADD. It's also more common and very underdiagnosed in girls. If you see this, I would highly recommend talking to a doctor. Even if you choose not to take a medication, I don't because of the side effects. Knowing the causes of my difficulties helps me better to cope with them and not be so hard on myself. I'm in my late 30s and have struggled with ADD my whole life. You nailed it right here. Fake it till you make it. Most people never feel they are doing well or can succeed. You just have to believe and do as best as you can. The fake it till you make it motto is great to live by, as eventually you will wake up one day and realize you are good. And you know what you're worth because you have grown so much after putting yourself in new, challenging situations. You always want to have that feeling. It is a sign you are not being complacent and not progressing, in my opinion. Listening and focus are two skills that can be improved, as well as common sense. Just keep your head up high and work on yourself. Constantly learning and you will do great. That's a really nice bit of advice. Thank you. That's right. I'm just like you, I take things one at a time. I've never been the brightest wherever I go, but I still managed to come out alive. The one thing I did without fail until now is to just show up. No matter in what situation you are, prepared, unprepared. Got your shit together. Don't have your shit together. I had this feeling all my life, even now, but I had it the most after I graduated university. I worked as a waiter and another low-paying job, and always felt that I wasn't good enough or bright enough for a proper job. I put off applying to jobs because I felt I would make a fool of myself in an interview and expose that I'm actually an idiot. Let me tell you, it took me 2.5 years to find a proper job. And when I got in, I realized that yes, it took me a while to pick stuff up and learn, but the whole point of companies is to help train you to do the job you applied for. There's also lots of people in the job that are just normal people learning their way through the job the same as you and making stupid mistakes or saying dumb things, including myself. I think one of the hurdles I had to get through on this chapter of my life was getting rid of the image I had of big companies and the whole real job thing. In my head, these companies intimidated me because how could I, a 23-year-old guy at the time with no experience and kinda goofy, be what they are looking for? But that's just the front they put up, because obviously when they were advertising and showing off their company, everyone has to be all professional looking and looking as if no mistakes can ever be made. But that's all it is, an image they made. It's the same deal as maybe one of your friends or someone you know, or maybe even just social media. It looks like they all know what they were doing, but when you get down to it and get to see the real thing, they were just like me and you, and they all have flaws and are all on their own journey, learning as they go. So it's the same deal with companies. They are just filled with regular people, all on different levels of skill and expertise. But when it comes down to it, they are all just regular people. Some of the team meetings I've had in my job are just like how you talk to your friends, but obviously we have to be professional when it counts, because at the end of the day work needs to be done. So I wouldn't worry much about being anxious, because I'm thinking, like me, it's that image you've made in your head about what it will be like. You don't have to be perfect. Just show you are genuinely interested and have a will to learn and improve. Another thing that helped me move past these hurdles is knowing about imposter syndrome and reading Growth Mindset by Carol Dweck. But the biggest one that helped was just taking the leap of faith and just applying and working even though I didn't feel ready. Because let's face it, time will pass you by if you were just standing still wondering if you will ever feel smart enough to do one of these jobs. So best course of action is to apply, succeed or fail, have feedback on your performance in interviews, or if you get into performance on the job itself, and keep learning. That's much of a better plan than just guessing if you were cut out for something or not. Whatever you do, don't rush, get married, and give up on a career. My aunt did that and was cheated on. Now she's single, 50, with 3 kids and no resume to speak of, and only got her driver's license a few years ago. Why do people have children? No shade on their family, just in general, it's 2020. You have a shit ton of options to not populate the world and make yourself broke. I was literally in your shoes right now. A few days ago I came to know that there is some added type of thing that I have to ask to a doctor because I was too relatable to add. I am also very bad at paying attention to what my boss was saying in one full sentence. Technical thing related my work, and sometimes they thought I was pure dumb and smart at the same time. I literally had to keep rereading a paragraph sometimes because my poor brain cells keep zoning out. I felt so terrible. It was one of the worst things you have to live with. Can someone please tell me what's the procedure for clinical identifying and diagnose AD? You need to make an appointment with a psychologist and get an evaluation. Make sure to confirm that they evaluate and treat AD before confirming appointments. It is typical to have to schedule 3 months out for a new patient in some areas. Some places can get you in fairly quick though. Most importantly, if the psych doesn't feel right, get a new one. I know it sucks to switch doctors, but if they pull things like being hesitant to prescribe medication stimulants or start suggesting odd medications you are uncomfortable taking, then it may be a good time to split from them. If you legitimately have ad addiction will not be an issue for you, as the ad brain doesn't naturally produce as much dopamine as neurotypical brains do. That's why some people lose the desire to do things like cocaine after getting medicated, or are always able to fall asleep right after drinking caffeine. Good luck. I'd love to know too. I definitely relate and think I have a lot of symptoms associated with ad, but don't know how to go about finding out. I struggle to pay attention days off when I'm in the middle of a conversation too. Not true at all, girl. I felt like that too after graduating college with a 2.8 GPA. I never went on to get my master's because I felt so dumb. I felt like I wouldn't be able to work, but once you get your foot in the door, they train you. I worked very hard from the bottom up because for me I have a bit of a learning disorder that I realized I had later in my adult life. I needed to overcome this, as well as self-defeating thoughts. Hard work beats brains when brains don't work hard. I know it's cliché, but it's true. There are so many idiots that I've had to work for in the past. It's really the only explanation for how it happens. I think a good chunk of us have thought, damn, my boss is stupid. How the hell did he even get that position? You don't need to be a genius or even smart to have a career and be successful, but you do need to work hard. Not giving up on yourself is corollary to that. I believe in you, and good luck. It is kind of depressing, but working hard is generally valued higher than actual results. It just boggles my mind. Some hard-working folks can just leave a trail of destruction behind them and still get praise. I have been exactly where you are. One of the most important skills I learned was patience and consistency. Always be present, always ask questions, and of course be empathetic. It's amazing how few workers are actually consistent in these things. After a year or two you will learn and people will notice. So, have you ever talked about this with a doctor? Some of what you were describing may be learned through some coaching from a leader, how to prioritize, but some of this sounds like potentially ad to me. But there's also, just because you don't excel at one type of work doesn't mean you're stupid. You may have just not found the type of work that matches your talents. Try to focus on what you can impact immediately. When you misprioritized work, what should have come first and why? How will that apply to future work? And if you have medical access, it may be worth just sharing your experience with a doctor to see if it may be ad. Long-term, think about what type of activity you enjoy or skills you have and try to find a job that matches the type of work. I realize a lot of my advice relies on access, resources, and mobility, so I'll also say, please do not be hard on yourself and don't insult yourself. Life is difficult enough. You have value and your worth is not dictated by your job or career. I relate to this exactly. Holy shit. I'm even the same gender and age range. Like, this is exactly one of the main reasons I quit my job. Oh, stay strong op. Me too. I'm female and a bit younger. I quit my retail job for these reasons. I quit my IOL for the The pressure they put on you to be perfect creates intense anxiety, making you question if you were good enough. I hated constantly feeling as though I was always performing for someone. Some people here have mentioned ad, but anxiety can also make it hard focus at work. The fact that you can read and write well on your own but struggle at work sounds maybe like some social anxiety to me. This is incredibly common when people start their careers. In public accounting, no one has any idea what they are doing and just copy what the other person did and act confident. Like the other commenters said, maybe you could get screened for ad. You are already working towards getting past this. You simply need experience, and this means to put yourself out of your comfort zone. Go make mistakes. Learn from them. Share your story with others. Surround yourself with the positive environment you want to be in every day. You already know this because you were seeking out reassurance. You were on your journey already, sharing this to say I've made many transitions and therefore thousands of mistakes and had hundreds of embarrassing moments. I was a homeless teen in out of foster homes and jail, barely survived high school but got my jet at 19 while facing serious drug charges, lots of weed, then married. Divorced with 2 kids by 28. I went into every job I could get with the mindset of fake it till I make it. Ultimately, I went into sales because I knew I couldn't get a degree to provide a decent salary anytime soon. So I went into some toxic, frat bro sales teams, working my way up to a salary to provide for my family. I made my way to software sales in 2013 and have now put my 2 kids in college. They will be graduating class of 2021-2022 in energy policy and linguistics. Seriously long road fraught with immense, self-critical turmoil that hindered myself in many ways to only add net zero benefits to my long-term mental health. So don't be too hard on how you are managing things. Love yourself. That feeling of inadequacy, uncertainty, and lack of confidence can weigh a ton. But think about the reason why it's there. Because you are shedding your normal state and pushing yourself to new areas of vulnerability. Those that can talk through those experiences in the workplace and articulate that with a healthy mindset about it are some of the most successful and friendly people I've met. Wait until you overcome this feeling and get to work alongside people that are hopelessly dumb. As some commenters before me mentioned, it sounds like you might have mild ad. I feel you. I had many of the same concerns. I found a job in marketing where I'm way less time bound to other people than I'd find constraining. If I get the job done, it really doesn't matter whether it took me 2 hours at 10 a.m. or 4 hours at 2 a.m. You are young and you are new to the working world. I'm often told by old-timers that you have to pay your dues. I that you the way to Ayo the while ayo ayo As long as your intentions are pure and you strive to do the best you can do every day, then you will find yourself. I'm only about 6 years older than you, and I know I felt the exact same way. Some days I still feel that way. You will be working until you reach 60 or 70 something. That's another 40 years in the world to face new challenges and grow. Cut yourself some slack, but don't get complacent. Stay persistent and work hard. Know your strengths and use them. My memory is horrible. I suck at math, and I suck at studying. I am strong in sales. Hard work, perseverance, creativeness. Honestly, a lot of that can be anxiety related. And imposter syndrome is a huge thing too. Trust me, I also suffer from it to an extent, and it is actually more common than you think. I'm also 22, and I have felt the same way. You just have to take certain duties and responsibilities a little at a time. Learn to relax and put some confident effort into focusing on your tasks at hand. Over time, you will get better. That's just how it works.
Like and subscribe for more Reddit content. Watch the next video at the top of your screen.